Today I'm here to talk to you about what I call the 3 Ps. This is something that I use a lot with clients, with my son, but even with myself. And I learned this from my meditation teacher who has taught me enormous amounts of information about mindfulness over the years. And when I finished my coaching manual and my book and put all my products together, I remember somebody saying, "How come you didn't include the 3 Ps?" And I thought, oh my gosh, I totally forgot the 3 Ps. I talk about this all the time. So this is a quick little video to tell you what are the 3 Ps and how you can use them. So the 3 Ps. First one, it's not perfect. Nothing in life is perfect. If you're expecting yourself to be perfect, your kids to be perfect, your spouse to be perfect, your boss to be perfect, the person driving the car in front of you to be perfect, nobody's perfect. So if you can get that one down, just the first one, it's not perfect. And there's beauty in imperfection. And this was a mindfulness story my teacher told me, and it's such a Zen proverb. If I walk outside of my house today and I walk down in nature and I go into the trail by the creek where the woods are and all the trees are growing, I don't look at the trees and condemn each tree for being crooked or bent and having a knot on this side or growing around this way or the vines. Or when we walk out in nature, we're reminded there's perfection in imperfection. And so as human beings, I think one of the most important things that you can remind yourself in all situations at all times is it's not perfect. I know I lived a life striving to be perfect. I've done so many things, so many diet fads, so many ways to get to a place where I look good or I am beautiful or somebody thinks from the outside looking in that I'm perfect. You fall short every time. It doesn't work. It doesn't last. And I've had some moments in my life and in my career where I've been like, wow, I feel like I was pretty close to perfect there. It's fleeting. Everything in life is always growing and evolving. It's the biggest oxymoron there is. You can't make it stop and stand still forever. Everything is changing. Everything is growing. Everything is evolving, including you. So the first P is it's not perfect. If you could just let everybody go from being perfect, man, the freedom that you will find. Second P is it's not personal. Once we realize nothing's perfect and I'm okay with that, and really mindfulness helps us to cultivate the belief that I can accept everything just as it is, then I can realize it's not personal. Whatever you're dealing with, whoever you're dealing with, I promise you chances are they're probably suffering. They don't know how to hold their own suffering. And then what we do when we don't build a container, which is what happens when we shut up and sit and get quiet with ourselves, we build the ability to hold all of our experiences. If we don't have that, what happens is we walk out and we just project all of our shit over everybody else. And we're just projecting our shit onto the people that cross our path at the grocery store, in traffic, in a classroom, on a phone call, on social media. And so it's not personal. It's not about you. It's about the other person. And something somebody told me recently that I think is really important to remember is the angrier the adult, the more wounded and traumatized the child. And now when I look at people and I see someone that's hurting and suffering, the second P, I try to bring that to mind as quickly as possible. It's not personal. This is where compassion comes in. I don't know what their life is like. I don't know what it was like up until this point. But if they're an angry person, and I speak from experience, that anger is coming from a deep, deep wounded place. And most of us, it starts somewhere in our childhood. So the angrier the adult, more likely the wounded and the more traumatized the child that is inside of that big person's body. It's not personal. I promise you. If you can hold that second P once you've let go of everybody and everything being perfect, and then start to say, what if it's not about me? What if it's this person suffering and I can show up with some compassion and just see past their anger, see past their projection, and really start to see who they are? Then what happens is you'll find the third P falls in place. And this one's my favorite. It's not permanent. It will change. It will move on. Things will happen. It might feel like right now where you are, it's going to last forever. It's not permanent. Look back over your life and look at the things that you've experienced. Did it last forever? Where you were 5 years ago, are you still there today? Well, actually, let me back up. If you are, we should probably talk because it's not a good place to live. Most likely, though, you've shifted and moved from some place out away from it at some degree. Nothing lasts forever. So if we can realize that there's no permanence here, and that's really another byproduct of learning to shut up and sit, is being able to be okay with the unknown, with impermanence, with no guarantees. All we ever have is this moment and the moment that we're in. If we can foster radical presence, be right here, right now, it really is easy to call those 3 Ps and say, is this perfect? Nope, not supposed to be. Is this personal? No, this person's just lost their father or had a really bad day at work or is suffering from the news, maybe something traumatic going on in the world. And then the last one is it going to last forever? No, chances are it won't. Your ego wants to tell you everybody needs to be perfect, including you. Your ego wants to tell you everybody is focused on you. And your ego also wants to tell you we're never going to get out of this. So here's what's really cool about this. Recall these 3 Ps. See if you can't walk yourself through them the next time you feel a little bit stuck. And then what I love is ask your ego, instead of creating separation and wreaking havoc in your life, can you take the energy of the ego to help you lean into the 3 Ps as opposed to pull yourself away and expect them from other people? So this is my short little video on what are the 3 Ps. I use this all the time when my son calls me, wants to tell me something. He goes, I know, you're going to tell me. It's not perfect. It's not permanent. It's not personal. And the truth is I am. And I'm going to say this to you over and over and over again as well. If you are working with me, and now the beauty is you have it on film, it's on camera, watch this video. Every time you run into something where you feel like you're stuck and you can't get out, the 3 Ps will give you freedom every single time, I promise.